What's up, guys? Check this out. Investor buys distressed West Loop office landmark at a steep discount. Now, where is this location? It's in Chicago. It's in one of like the nicest places, right? The Loop. So if you look at Chicago and go to like where like the Willis Tower is, I mean, overall, it's a good place. You know, Chicago is a pretty wild area to be in, but when you're near like the Loop area, generally that's where all the shiny skyscrapers are. That's where the tourists are, and that's also where all the rich people live, right? I mean, Chicago, I gotta admit, it's a very, very nice city, especially the Loop area. But if you look at what's going on in the office department, apparently everyone is leaving. I remember just a few months ago, I went to Chicago. One of the biggest things going on was Boeing just simply moving everyone out to other locations in the US. And many companies are doing the same thing. In fact, Chicago is no longer the financial hub. Many people in many of these offices are leaving or they are empty. It's actually sad to see. And Chicago has one of the biggest office markets in the world, but they're literally selling these office towers for dirt cheap prices. And look at this building here. It's not even that bad of a building. It's right next to Willis Tower. It's at the Loop. It's pretty nice. It's like pre-war. I don't see anything wrong with this building, but they sold for 89% off. And what's worse is you bought it 10 years ago, you still have to sell it for 89% off. And what's even worse about this is $1 million 10 years ago is worth so much more than $1 million now. Like $1 million 10 years ago, you could buy like multiple houses. The dollar menu was still around, and chips weren't like $5 for like a tiny bag. Now, with all this money printing, everything's more expensive. So when this building sells for a whopping 89% off, that just shows you how bad the Chicago office market is. I mean, wow. We say a lot of bad things about the San Francisco market, but check out the Chicago market, guys. I mean, Chicago is a whole different animal at this point. So many people are leaving, and the Chicago crime rate is going up as well. That's why I earned the nickname Chirac, right? If you look at some of these office buildings, they're selling for dirt cheap prices. Like, for example, these ground retail floors that are trying to sell for like 4.8 million, it's not selling for 4.8 million. No way anyone's buying that. And there's another one. One unit available for $899,000. It's a pretty massive square footage of retail space at almost 3,500 square feet. But nobody's buying this for 900 G's. They probably could sell it for like 300, 400 G's. And like the price per square feet in many Chicago residential buildings can't even beat suburban buildings in like Dallas or Houston. It's that bad. And Chicago should be one of the places where it commands the highest rent, highest real estate value, etc., etc. But it's actually selling for cheaper prices than my suburban neighborhood, which is pretty bad. And it doesn't help when WeWork is also going bankrupt. WeWork seeks to reject even more leases as bankruptcy filing proceedings trudged on. WeWork is saying goodbye to 8 more leases, and the co-working space, the office space, and the retail space in America is getting worse by the day. And it's not just in Chicago, guys. Even the Bay Area, filled with tech. Owners of Sunnyvale office complex default on $63.5 million loan. Surprise, because nobody wants it. Nobody's renting a lot of these places. No one wants to be in these places. And in fact, there's one big change I'm seeing in America that's very different from anyone else in the country. If you check out places like China, Korea, Japan, there's one trend, which is a lot of people like to move from the smaller cities to the bigger cities. And the closer you are to the center of the city, the more expensive the real estate. Here in the United States, almost feels like the center is usually like the bad part of town, like downtown LA, downtown Chicago, even like downtown some Texas cities. But the suburban areas are extremely expensive. And we're also seeing a lot of Americans moving from humongous cities to mid and small size cities. So America is kind of like doing the reverse Uno card here. And I don't really blame these guys. Constant city life, constant Chicago skyscrapers get old really quick, and you just want something new and refreshing. And this is why smaller cities with populations less than 300,000 people, those real estate prices are actually going up recently. Whereas big city real estate like Chicago, like West Loop, you got places selling for 89% off. I mean, when was the last time you got 89% off on Amazon? Okay, they're selling these commercial office spaces cheaper than Amazon Black Friday Prime deals. It's a different market now. It seems like Chicago commercial real estate is just going down the drain.